In a twist of economic fate, the stage is set for a dramatic showdown between the United States and some of its closest allies. With a single declaration, President Trump announced on March 26, 2025, that a 25% tariff would be imposed on all cars not manufactured in the United States, with a particular emphasis on German brands. This bold move sent ripples through the global financial markets, causing automotive stocks to plummet and threatening to drive up car prices for American consumers. For Germany, this tariff is not just an economic policy, but a direct assault on the heart of its industrial strength. The German automotive industry, including giants like Mercedes, BMW, and Volkswagen, heavily relies on the American market, with exports to the U.S. reaching over $35 billion in 2024 alone. The ramifications of such a tariff are profound, threatening jobs and disrupting supply chains both in Germany and across the United States. Less than 3 days after Trump's announcement, the European Union convened an emergency meeting to discuss a unified response. France, Italy, and Spain, each with their own grievances, rallied under a common cause. Brussels quickly crafted a retaliation strategy that extended beyond the automotive industry, contemplating digital taxes on American tech giants, restrictions on U.S. airlines' airspace rights, and bans on technology imports with murky origins. It seems as though Trump's unilateral action has inadvertently unified Europe, with countries that often bicker now showing unprecedented solidarity. Ironically, the man who once touted America first now finds himself facing a united Europe ready to counter his every move. Meanwhile, America's neighbor and largest trading partner, Canada, finds itself at a crossroads. With the potential for both Germany and Canada to retaliate, the consequences for the U.S. could be severe. Access to cheap Canadian energy might be at risk, along with American market shares in European sectors like agriculture, technology, and cars. It's a delicate balance, with American industrial and agricultural powerhouses urging caution, aware that when international patients phrase, they are often the first to suffer the consequences. As the situation escalates, the media has dubbed the EU's comprehensive strategy as the Mercedes revenge. This multi-pronged defensive stance by Europe is not just about protecting their industries, it's about sending a message that they are prepared to play the long game. With the combined annual trade value between the US, EU, and Canada standing at a staggering $1.8 trillion, the stakes are sky high. A full-scale trade war could fracture the global economic system, leading to soaring car prices, job losses, and double taxation on U.S. tech companies within Europe. The question looms: who is truly prepared to endure this economic endurance test? While politicians wrangle over strategies, business associations and workers on both sides of the Atlantic brace for the potential fallout. If the tit-for-tat retaliations spiral out of control, it won't just be goods and services that are impacted. The very trust that has been painstakingly built over decades could be severely damaged. The real danger lies not just in the economic indicators, but in the erosion of alliances that were once thought unbreakable. In a move that raised eyebrows, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, instead of heading to Washington for his first diplomatic visit, opted for Paris and London. This decision speaks volumes about the current state of U.S.-Canada relations, particularly given the Trump administration's previous imposition of high tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, which significantly impacted Canada's export-driven economy. Rather than resigning to the status quo, Carney's government is actively seeking to diversify its economic partnerships, reducing reliance on the U.S. by strengthening ties with Europe and Asia. It's a strategic pivot that could reshape Canada's economic landscape. Adding another layer of complexity to the situation is the controversy surrounding the F-35 fighter jet program. Canadian officials have voiced concerns that the U.S. could activate a kill switch in the jet's software, thereby compromising Canada's control over its defense assets. If Canada were to exit this program, it would not only shock NATO relations, but potentially diminish U.S. military influence within the alliance. Such a move could prompt allied nations to explore European alternatives, reshaping NATO's defense structure and shaking the foundations of U.S. leadership. In the Arctic, climate change is opening new frontiers for resource exploration, with Canada keenly guarding its sovereignty. The region is forecasted to house about 30% of the world's untapped oil and gas reserves by 2050, making it a hotspot for international disputes. The growing tension over Arctic sovereignty only adds to the list of friction points in U.S.-Canada relations, already strained by Trump's protectionist policies. As the global economic landscape shifts, Trump's late-night social media activity has become a spectacle of its own. In what can only be described as a digital outburst, Trump unleashed over 10 social media posts in a single hour, including a threat to impose killer tariffs should the EU and Canada ally against the U.S. This midnight tirade, reminiscent of a teenager's breakup drama, raises questions about the strategic intent behind such moves. Is this a calculated distraction from domestic issues, or a sign of a leader losing his grip on the situation? The immediate backlash was swift. Within a day, figures like Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, one of Trump's erstwhile allies, expressed regret for the American public, attributing the brewing trade conflict squarely to Trump's policies. France, the UK, and the entire European Union soon followed, backing a new trade alliance with Canada that conspicuously excludes the United States. It's a dramatic shift from best friends forever to a strategic decoupling, leaving many to wonder if Trump's late-night antics are costing the U.S. its long-standing alliances. Amidst this geopolitical drama, everyday Americans are grappling with a domestic economic crisis. Consumer confidence has plummeted to a 15-year low, with rising rents, stagnant wages, and inflation squeezing family budgets. Some experts speculate that Trump's overseas confrontations are a deliberate diversion from these pressing issues at home. Bloomberg's analysts succinctly capture the public sentiment. Americans are less concerned with who shouts the loudest and more focused on who can alleviate their economic burdens. As major U.S. companies like Tesla, Apple, and GM quietly relocate production lines to Canada and the EU, it's clear that political chaos is not conducive to business. Investors are wary, having witnessed stock prices for key manufacturers tumble following Trump's tariff threats. The message is clear. Stability and predictability are essential for economic leadership. In a market where policy can shift on the whims of a single tweet, the trust required for long-term investment wanes. In light of these developments, it's worth pondering. Are Trump's policies truly serving America's interests, or are they pushing the nation towards isolation? As the international community watches closely, one thing is certain. The global economic order is at a tipping point, and the actions of a few could have far-reaching consequences for many. Before we delve further, if you're intrigued by the unraveling global dynamics and want to stay updated on these seismic shifts, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Join the conversation by liking the video and sharing your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about these tariffs? Are they a necessary step for national security or a reckless gamble with economic stability? We want to hear from you. In this intricate web of international relations, the North American automotive industry stands at the forefront. Ontario, where more than 30% of exports are automotive-related, is particularly vulnerable. The Canadian government, under Prime Minister Carney's leadership, has vowed to protect its workforce, announcing a $2 billion strategic response fund aimed at building a resilient, made-in-Canada supply chain. This initiative seeks to reduce dependence on the U.S. market, ensuring that Canadian auto workers, who are integral to the nation's economy, are shielded from the brunt of these geopolitical maneuvers. As Canada fortifies its defenses, the North American automotive production system, a tightly knit network between Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, faces the threat of disintegration. The interconnectedness of this industry means that a disruption in one part of the chain could lead to a collapse affecting all involved. Canada's strategic response is not merely about survival, but about asserting its economic independence in an increasingly unpredictable world. The stakes are not just economic but deeply political, with potential long-term implications for U.S.-Canada relations. The Canadian government's retaliation, should it choose to escalate, could reshape the economic landscape of North America. Yet the cost of this tariff war extends beyond the immediate financial impact, threatening to fracture alliances and erode trust that has been the bedrock of North American cooperation. As the drama unfolds, it's essential to consider who ultimately bears the cost. The first casualties in this trade conflict are undoubtedly the workers, particularly those in cities like Windsor, Hamilton, and Waterloo, where the automotive industry is a vital economic engine. These communities face an uncertain future, where job losses could lead to a societal and economic ripple effect. While the Canadian government is mobilizing resources to support its citizens, the duration and intensity of this trade war could have repercussions that reverberate for generations. In the midst of this geopolitical theater, former Congressman Adam Kinzinger offers a stark critique of Trump's leadership. Describing Trump as a weak man pretending to be strong, Kinzinger's comments cast a spotlight on Trump's actions during critical moments, particularly the events of January 6th. Kinzinger, drawing from his military experience, contrasts Trump's inaction during the Capitol attack with the courage required in true leadership. His critique extends beyond policy to Trump's very character, likening him to a WWE wrestler whose bravado masks a fragile ego. Kinzinger's assessment is not just a personal indictment, but a reflection on the internal divisions within the Republican Party, challenging the very values and character that define leadership. His words serve as a reminder that in the world of politics, strength is not measured by volume, but by the ability to face truth and adversity with resilience. As we navigate this complex landscape, we invite you to stay engaged with our content. Subscribe for more insights and analysis on the evolving global political scene. Share your thoughts on the issues that matter to you, and let's explore the future of our interconnected world together. In conclusion, as these international tensions reach a boiling point, the world watches with bated breath. The decisions made in the coming days and weeks will shape the trajectory of global trade and politics for years to come. Will Trump manage to steer the ship amidst these tumultuous waters, or will his actions lead to an era of economic isolation for the United States? The answers lie not only in the halls of power, but in the lived experiences of those on the ground, the workers, the families, and the communities whose futures hang in the balance. The world is watching, and history is waiting to be written. Certainly. Here's the continuation. As we unravel the complexities of global trade and diplomacy, it's crucial to consider the broader implications of the current trade tensions. The imposition of tariffs by the United States and the potential retaliatory measures by its allies have set in motion a series of events that could redefine economic alliances and power dynamics on a global scale. The intricate web of international trade, once a symbol of cooperation and mutual benefit, now finds itself at the mercy of political maneuvering and nationalistic agendas. The European Union's response to Trump's tariff announcement exemplifies a strategic recalibration. By uniting under a common cause, European nations are not merely reacting to a single policy, but are seizing the opportunity to assert their collective strength. This newfound solidarity within the EU highlights a shift towards a more integrated and assertive Europe, one that is willing to challenge the traditional hegemony of the United States in international trade. Canada, caught in the crossfire of this economic conflict, is navigating a delicate path. Prime Minister Carney's decision to strengthen ties with Europe and Asia is a testament to Canada's adaptability and foresight. By diversifying its economic partnerships, Canada is mitigating the risks associated with over-reliance on a single trading partner. This move not only bolsters Canada's economic resilience, but also positions it as a key player in the evolving global trade landscape. The Arctic, with its vast untapped resources, emerges as another frontier in this geopolitical chess game. As climate change accelerates the melting of ice, nations are vying for control over this strategically significant region. Canada's unwavering stance on Arctic sovereignty underscores the importance of safeguarding national interests in the face of mounting international competition. The Arctic's potential to become a flashpoint for resource-driven disputes further complicates the already tense relations between Canada and the United States. Amidst these geopolitical developments, the domestic economic challenges facing American citizens cannot be ignored. The rising cost of living, coupled with stagnant wages, is placing immense pressure on household budgets. As Americans grapple with these economic realities, the impact of international trade policies becomes increasingly tangible. The decisions made by political leaders have far-reaching consequences, directly affecting the livelihoods of millions of people. In this intricate dance of diplomacy and economics, the role of leadership is paramount. Former Congressman Adam Kinzinger's critique of Trump's leadership style raises important questions about the qualities necessary to navigate these turbulent times. True leadership requires the ability to make difficult decisions, to act with integrity, and to inspire confidence in the face of adversity. As nations around the world grapple with uncertainty, the need for strong, principled leadership has never been more critical. As we continue to explore these complex issues, we invite you to engage with our content and join the conversation. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis and updates on the global political landscape. Share your thoughts and perspectives in the comments below, and let's delve into the nuances of these critical topics together. What do you believe are the most important qualities for leaders in today's world? How can nations work together to address the challenges of the 21st century? Your insights are valuable, and we look forward to hearing from you. In closing, as the world stands at a crossroads, the actions taken by nations today will shape the future of international relations for generations to come. The stakes are high, and the need for thoughtful, strategic decision-making is paramount. As we navigate this new era of global trade and diplomacy, let us remain vigilant, informed, and engaged in the pursuit of a more stable and prosperous world. The journey ahead is fraught with challenges, but it is also ripe with opportunities for those willing to seize them. Together, let us strive to build a future defined by cooperation, resilience, and shared prosperity. Thank you for your continued interest. Given the constraints of the original request and the character limits, we've already covered the content in full. However, if there are specific aspects or topics within the text you'd like to explore further, or any additional questions you have, feel free to let me know, and I'd be happy to provide more insights or expand on those areas.